Pro Football Hall of Fame class of 2024 has been officially announced. In the Hall of Fame, Julius Peppers, Devin Hester,
Bears,
Dwight Freeney, Cusio, Andre Johnson, Patrick Willis, Steve McMichael. Go ahead, say it, Bears. Say it, Bears.
Bears. Well,
and Randy Gradishar.
Yeah.
Those are your Pro Football Hall of Famers. Julius Peppers, Devin Hester, Dwight Freeney, Andre Johnson, Patrick Willis, Steve McMichael, Randy Gradishar.
Wait a second. I didn't hear you say Antonio Gates.
Yeah, well, there's one guy I want to get to on this list, and there's one guy who I cannot believe got snubbed. And apparently he knew earlier today he wasn't getting in because most guys get a phone call at some point saying, hey, just to let you know, this is how things are going to go tonight.
Yeah, you get Antonio that knock at the door, remember?
Yeah, Antonio Gates does not get into the Pro Football Hall of Fame when that just, it baffles me. Antonio Gates is at worst the third best tight end who ever played the game. Right? With Kelsey playing now, Kelsey might wind up walking away being the best. Depending how much longer he has to go. I know he's talking about retirement and everything else. But you're talking about the three best, Gonzalez, Antonio Gates, and Gronk. There's a lot of great tight ends, don't get me wrong. These are the three best tight ends to have ever played the game. Guy was a Pro Bowler every year from 2004 through 2011. Guy got 950 passes, 11,000 yards receiving. I mean, he was it. He's at worst, he is the third best tight end to ever have played the game. If you want to say, well, Gronk and Gonzalez are better, okay, that's fine. Gronk will be a Hall of Famer easily, and Gonzalez already. But yeah, when you're the third best to ever play your position, and it's a main position, yeah, Antonio Gates, I'm stunned. I can't believe the guy is not in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I'm a bit surprised. Obviously, we'll find our guy Jason Cole. He is the Hall of Fame voter and checks in with the show each week. So
I may fight him.
Well, that's just it. I mean, Prosper may not even answer the phone or place that out. You know what? You screwed it up. You had one job. Actually, no, he had two jobs. Keep Cowboys out, get Gates in. Yeah, this one was surprising to me, right? Whenever you start going down the list and looking and, all right, who's going to get in, who's not. Devin Hester gets in, but he's a guy that every year there's great debates as to whether he would. Willis was on his fifth time as a finalist, finally gets in. Obviously, you have the two veteran committee and Grandisher and McMichael going in. But when we talk about, the first ballots and the guys that they're having those great debates in the room, I'd love to hear the argument against Antonio Gates. What, they didn't win enough? Now he didn't get to 1,000 receptions. Like I'm missing what is off his resume that keeps him and precludes him from the Hall. Now, obviously, if you want to go down that list of all-time tight ends, you can go back into the yesteryear when the position was a bit different. Then I get the other Barron and Ditka, but also whatever you think of Travis Kelce. But at worst, he's still top five. Right? That's an absolute worst. So, and a guy that defined the position for so many people, particularly in the age of the growth of the NFL that we saw at the time that he came into the league, undrafted, former basketball player, all of those things to go on to the career that he had. Again, I'd love to hear the argument against him.
Because I don't know what it could be. I really don't know. The only thing that hits me is that did his career overlap a little bit too much with Tony Gonzalez? Right?
But he was better than Gonzalez.
But that's the thing, is that if you look at his numbers stack up just as good, if not better, than Gonzalez. Right?
You have 4 years with double-digit touchdowns. You're talking 955 catches. He was pretty durable.
Most touchdowns by a tight end in the NFL. I mean, what else do you need from the guy who, as you said, redefined the position with his athleticism? Because when he remember the whole big thing, the whole hey, Matthew Stafford and Clayton Kershaw went to high school together. Antonio Gates was a basketball player.
Well, we did that with him, and we did that with Gonzalez as well. Right? To be fair with Gonzalez a bit. Yeah.
But that was the thing, is that Gonzalez was really, really good, but the athleticism of Antonio Gates stood out, I would say, even more because he was doing things that we never saw a tight end do. We never saw a tight end who was absolutely that athletic that could do it. And this is not taking anything away from Gonzalez. Again, you're talking about these three guys. The two of them and Gronk are the three best tight ends to ever play the game. But, I mean, so when you can compare favorably with those other two, and you can even make an argument that he's maybe the best out of all of them, how are you not in? It's like the third best wide receiver ever not in the Hall of Fame, is the third best cornerback not in the Hall of Fame, the third best defensive end ever not in the Hall of Fame, but Antonio Gates doesn't get in? But wow, man.
Like,
wow.
You're also going in a class. All right, Julius Peppers, over 100 sacks, right? 52 forced fumbles, check. Mate, your guy from Cuse, 125 career sacks, Super Bowl champion, a guy that had a huge career in Dwight Freeney. Fine. I love Andre Johnson.
Nah, he's the guy I'm like.
Does Andre Johnson get? Why is Andre Johnson in over Antonio Gates?
Yeah, I don't know that Andre.
Is this
Johnson,
the old first ballot thing?
Andre Johnson's a little bit. Well, yeah, the guy was good, but okay, yeah, he was good. He was, he's a pro. But I mean, I don't know that you would say, okay, he deserves to get in over that. No, he doesn't. I mean, look, the guy was consistently terrific from his early 20s to his early 30s. I'm not saying the guy's not a Hall of Famer, but you're picking guys that are going in over Antonio Gates.
But does he get screwed because he's first ballot?
I don't know. I don't know.
It's rigged, clearly. And what are you laughing at? It's they made it very clear that this is a joke. It's become a joke if he's not in.
I don't know. And the thing is, here's the worst part is that he's better than very good. Like, he was more than very good.
But that's it.
Great. If you're letting very good guys in the Hall of Fame, he's more than great.
Yeah, I mean, look, we can always do the arguments, and I'd love to be a fly on the wall and actually get access to one of those one year. I promise I'll leave the phone outside. I just want to hear it, right? I just want to, because this is one of those debates, and there's some players that I'm sure they can go on for a half hour at a time. We've certainly heard of it, going back to T.O. and some of the other guys year after year. For Antonio Gates, I just don't know what the argument against him can possibly be.
He was on one of the All-Pro teams 5 times in his career. The guy played tight end till he was 38. It's not like I almost feel like guys get a little bit, okay, how do I say this? They get not so much, they get penalized. That's the best word. Is that because you look at a guy like Patrick Willis, right, who played in the NFL till he was 29 years old, injuries, but he was great all the way through, right? He's great all the way through. But he's a Pro Bowler, 7 out of the 8 years, and he goes in the Hall of Fame. Terrell Davis, who was great for 4 years, then got hurt a couple, didn't play any after that, he goes into the Hall of Fame. Guys that have the shorter careers and were great, I feel like they're given a little bit more leeway than guys who played till they're 38. I mean, look, the guy, he was playing tight end. He was catching 50 balls a year till he was 36 years old. Okay, Gronk wasn't doing that. All the tight ends were slowing down. But the fact he played till he was 38 as a starting tight end in the NFL, I feel like the last few years, which weren't as great as his years before, the big heyday of him from 2004 through about, 2014, those last 4 years, it's like, the guy was just kind of okay then. He was slowing down near the end. And maybe that, I feel like those guys get penalized more because the guys going in with the shorter careers that were great, and I feel it should be the other way around. I'm like, okay, yeah, I feel bad you were hurt and you missed out and you were great for 4 or 5. Would you have been great? I mean, they're projecting that you were going to be great the rest of your career.
Well, let me ask this.
I don't think that's fair to those guys.
Right, to play, I guess, devil's advocate to a point. There's only one thing that stands out in his career that potentially becomes the flare up into the sky, is that he got suspended for PEDs. Whether he did it or not, he served the 4-game suspension. So does that matter? Should it matter? It's the NFL. Should it matter? I'm asking just from if I'm trying to find one piece of the puzzle that someone would raise their hand and go, well, but you could talk about postseason success or failure for the franchise as a whole, and that's a whole other thing. But when you get into that, that's the only thing that stands out in the long history, other than a guy that just was a highlight reel.